everyone, and a very warm welcome to ChaiNet. We will just start. Let me remove the text. All right. So, welcome back to ChaiNet, the agentic commerce podcast exploring how brands are building in an AI world. 23 years in hospitality, restaurants, spas, loyalty programs across India and abroad. That was Mahipal Singh's world, and COVID hit, and his daughter got her first period during lockdown. That changed everything for him. Now, most founders start because they either see a market opportunity or they want to enter the entrepreneurship bandwagon. Mahipal started because he sat through an experience that millions of fathers would probably just avoid. He watched his daughter struggle with something that shouldn't be a struggle, and he did what most people in his position would not even think of doing. He started a period care and a femcare brand. Being a father of a tiny 1 year old daughter, the moment I saw what he was doing, I had to get him on ChaiNet. Revaa is not, Revaa, his company, is not hiding in black poly bags. It's a fashion forward, bold, unapologetic. Wellness products that treat periods as normal, not something to whisper about. Today we'll be talking to Mahipal. Let's get him on stage. Mahipal, a very warm welcome to ChaiNet.
Thank you very much, Rachit. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to be to be able to address this audience. Thank you very much for having me.
Likewise, no, it's my pleasure, and I'm very happy to have you here today. Mahipal, if you could give a short introduction for yourself, of yourself for our audience.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Mahipal Singh, co-founder of Revaa. Before this, I spent over 2 decades in hospitality and loyalty, where I built and a profitable uh, bootstrap customer engagement company. More importantly, I am a father to a young daughter, and Reva really started there, combining everything I know about customer experiences with a very personal problem at home. So that's what I am with my experience and what I bring to women largely through Reva.
Amazing. And you actually you walked away from, as you said, like a 2 decades experience in hospitality uh, to build. So there are so many things you walked away from that to build a femcare brand during COVID. That's either courage or it's insanity, right? Which one was it for you? And when did you actually get to know that, okay, this is it, I am not going back?
Uh, it's very true. It was actually neither courage nor insanity. It was actually empathy with conviction. During the
Right.
pandemic, when my daughter Myra got her first period, she was actually she's very sporty. She's constantly on the move, and I realized that the products available to her were not as evolved at the same pace as her life was evolving. She
Right.
did not want invasive products like cups or tampons, and pads were being limiting and uncomfortable for her. So that's where it took me down a rabbit hole. I spoke to over a
Right.
hundred of her friends. My wife spoke to another hundred of her friends and parents. And what came out as a common consensus was that women needed something that blends into their lives, not
Right.
something that they constantly need to manage. And that's where I realized and I knew that this wasn't my daughter's problem. This was actually a category that was waiting
Right.
to be reimagined.
Hmm. I think that's like coming from you. I have a 1 year old daughter. She's very small right now, but it's still it's a taboo, right? Whatever said and done, like for fathers to even talk about their daughter's periods. It's and you've actually built that brand. So once you figured out that okay, this is a problem. Then what happened? Like you spoke to people and you understand that okay, that there is a category which needs to be reimagined. This is not how it should be. Then what were your next steps? Like coming from a hospitality industry, starting a brand, help me piece the two things together.
So, right, coming from my background of hospitality and loyalty and moving into the menstrual hygiene world, it was not easy, right? It was first there were these roadblocks of a man talking about periods, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because in our society, it is very easily conceived that it's a women's problem, and that's where the biggest
Correct.
stigma and taboo is, right? Nikki and me, both of us, did almost 1.5, 2 years of on-ground research. We spoke to hundreds of thousands of women who we actually wanted to tell us what they wanted, what do they expect from a period product, right? And that's where we realized what Reva needed to be. It was not only about building a product, it was about building a voice for today's women, right? It's exactly what women want, which they are not able to express in the larger terms because society does not let them. And that's where we've built Reva not as a brand but as a emotion, as something that every woman in the country, right, can relate to in whatever walk of life they are.
Right. And yeah, I think that it looks it can you can see that in your brand, right? You can see like you're not unapologetic about it. You're like all your social media, it's all about there's it's nothing to hide. It's nothing to be it's not a woman's problem. It's a natural it's as natural as anything which can happen, right? And
True.
yeah, and you should not be there's should not be packed in like I know when I've seen when my wife buys any sanitary product, right, it's usually that they wrap it up in those black bags and then they give it to her, and it's it's strange, and you will people will actually, so, like my father's a doctor, right, so in our house also it's very normal to talk about periods and whatever, and because it's a medical thing, my father orders all anything to do with with medicine or anything to do with the chemist, right? Because he's
Right.
like the liaison between us and the chemist, and then my father was once ordering sanitary products for my wife, and she had a friend over, and then and then it was a thing like it was weird for the friend because he thought that okay, yeah, like how's the father-in-law ordering something for the daughter-in-law, right? But
That is what is the awkward situation in our society today,
right,
right? Uh, it does not come naturally to men, right? Because we've been taught to stay away from this problem, right?
right,
And it's not a problem; it's a biological process, right? And since generations, it's been considered to be something that is of uh, high critical stigma taboo, that it's not to be spoken in front of men of the house, right?
correct.
But today's day and age, the way we are seeing it, so we have twins, right? I have a boy and a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important for my daughter to know what periods are because they've started hitting as early as an 8-year-old, right? And
Right.
that's where the lifestyle changes are also impacting the way periods or menstrual hygiene is
Yes.
developing, right? It's also important that the boys of our society need to know what is important, what is periods, what is menstrual hygiene. They don't need to experience it. They need to
Right.
have that empathy and emotional connect of how they can support the women in their life. Could be their sister, could be a friend, their mother, their grandmother. And it's not only about periods, right? Largely the way the society or this category has developed and the way we are building Reva, right? It is very simple. It is for women across all age groups, right? Uh,
Right.
when we were building the category, when we spoke to millions of not millions, we spoke to thousands of girls across various age groups. The
Right.
younger girls were using it as training panties in schools, right? Because
Right.
mothers were worried that how would they, at a 8 or 10 year old girl, handle her underwear and pads at the same time,
Right.
right? So these panties that we built were tested as training panties. It gave them the comfort. We tested it with an older millennial age group segment, right, where many of them wanted products that could take them through long commutes or late meetings, right?
Right.
Finally, we also tested with the older women, primarily in their 40s and 50s, who were in the early stage of urine incontinence. And now all age groups have actually tested positively for a product that we've built, right?
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
and that's our customer obsession that we've done. We've constantly been speaking to women customers, women across various age groups, and we've understood that one product category can actually solve for multiple life stages, and that's what Reva is all about. And that's where I think the change in society is also coming about.
Right, right. But then, as a brand, if you're solving for different, different problems for different ages, then how do you position, how do you position that as a, as a brand owner?
So it's not about positioning for different use cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a brand, we are positioning ourselves as a fashion brand with functionality at the core, right?
Right.
And that's what is important. It's a functionally fashion forward brand, product that women across various age groups, across various use cases can adapt to very easily. You don't need training or you don't need a manual to go through to how to use this product, right? It's very simple. It just looks like your normal underwear, right? And what we've also done with the brand is we are also India's first period activewear brand, because in our conversations with women we realize that women actually stop living during their periods, right? They stop going to the gym, they stop their yoga, their jog, and it actually comes to a standstill. And
Right.
that's where we developed a period activewear range. It's like a normal product. It's like normal shorts, normal leggings, but with an additional layer of comfort and leak-proof protection. They're seamless. Nobody in from the outside can make out you're wearing a period product. And I
Right.
think that's what today women want. It's about not going through the shame that the society will look at them that, oh, this woman is on her period, right? It's about being comfortable, is being confident of what you want to showcase and feel within. And
Right.
that's the biggest shift that we want to bring about in society today with what Reva is giving out.
Solid. That's solid. That's it's not just a product. It's something much more, right? It's actually um, giving people the you're trying to solve two things, I think. Apart from just functionality in the product, you're also trying to solve the stigma which is there, that okay, men can't talk about it. And talking
Absolutely.
about yeah. Your backstage, we were talking about principles and how you actually build on how do you manage your day-to-day life as a founder. And you were talking about ownership, accountability principles, that has been your personal principle, right? Can you give us some shed some light on that for the audience?
So, through my previous work ex and through my journey as an entrepreneur, there is a principle that I have coined, and it's worked brilliantly for me. It's OAR. It's OARE. It's a very simple word. To put it in layman's terms, and it's like a chappu, right, for a boat, right?
Right.
Uh, Today's day and age, women, people who are working in an organization, the biggest thing that HR feels is employees are not connected with the organization, right? And I say it's not the organization, it's a dual, it's a mixed effort that goes in, right? And that's where this philosophy I developed. It's about if the team member feels the ownership to his role, his function, his job, right? He feels accountable for his function, for his task that he's been assigned, and he feels the responsibility towards the delivery of that particular task, right? automatically the empowerment will come. The quality of the output will be enhanced. He or she will start thinking like an owner, right?
Right.
Will start executing like the owner, and that's what is that every entrepreneur or every business owner or a functional manager wants in their team members. And today I am so proud that in my 23 years of working, I've been able to successfully implement this through my work, and I've got living examples of people who were freshers, and today, and with my journey, they manage teams not only in a specific city but entire nationally. And that's what
Right.
is the entire play. It's about me, an entrepreneur, giving a chair to an employee, but it's the employee's responsibility to make that chair their own, right? How do they command that respect is what OR is all about.
Right. That's a very good philosophy and principle for young entrepreneurs who are now building teams, now trying to trying to actually go from being a solopreneur to actually building a company. Uh, that's very solid advice. Thank you so much for that. And let's talk about you as a founder, right? And about the elephant in the room, I would say, because men are literally afraid to even talk about periods, menstruation, and you're building a full-blown period brand. Have there been instances where people say that you're in the wrong room and it's not your job?
Uh, it's happened more often than anyone can imagine, right? Yes, it's something that is there. But the truth is, I can't experience periods, and that's a fact, right? But I can understand the entire problem. Nikki and Amira have helped me understand what women feel during their periods,
Right.
right? And that's where, with the empathy in me, I've been able to make a change first for them and then for every girl who experiences periods. I'm very clear about that. My job is not to pretend I understand periods better than women. My job is to listen obsessively and build. We've personally spoken amongst Nikki and me to thousands of women across age groups. While I
Right.
don't experience periods myself, I understand the product deeply because women love it. We've got in our short term time in the market over 30,000 women customers who've actually adapted to Reva, right? And that's a validation that matters more than whether a man should or shouldn't be
Right.
building this, but
Correct.
whether the real problem is being solved well. That is what is required. So I may have started as the wrong person on paper, right, for a business like this, but the product is very much women designed, women validated. And I, through my experience, bring in the systems, the customer experience thought process to a
Right.
problem which every woman has been asking loudly for a change in. So
True.
that's my
True.
overall thinking on this.
No, that's, I think, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure it must have been very hard, especially initially when, when you're conceptualizing things and you're talking to people, like the first few, that's probably the hardest, right? In general, I
Oh,
think starting something is hard. But initially, like, the first few days or the first few weeks are like people are thinking, have you gone, like, are you even sane? But
absolutely. And
yeah,
I've had a lot of friends call me on the side, call Nikki and said, is he fine? Because I
right.
had just exited from my previous venture. They're like, hope he's fine. Please speak to him if he has a problem. So everybody took it more from that I should be mentally fine. That where am I going? Is this
Right.
even a category that a man should be heading? And
Right.
actually, these instances gave me more confidence that I need to do this, right? Because
Right.
I need to break that stigma. I've had conversations with men
Of course.
who've told me that, oh, my daughter is on the brink of getting her periods, but my wife is going to handle. And I very blatantly told them, why is your wife going to handle that?
Correct.
Right? Why aren't you? So I've had those awkward conversations, and today I'm proud that I love making men awkward, feel awkward about it, right? Because
Right.
these questions nobody will ask them,
Yes, of course.
and that's that people who've had interactions with me, I've had these conversations, right? And they can relate to it. It's about being normal and having that conversation with your daughter, with women who are associated in your life, because what matters at the end of the day is not how you think. It's about your empathy and your understanding of the situation and you holding
True.
guard that I am there. You don't need to worry, because during periods or when your menstruation happens, there is havoc going on in a woman's body, right? Which no man can ever fathom, right? It's about that. It's just that emotional touch that is required. They don't want anything else. I can very proudly say, and I'm sure Amira is going to kill me later, but she has the worst periods, right? And we have that dialogue where she knows I'm there, right? But I give her a space, and she knows that she
Right.
can ping me and say, Dad, I want a dark chocolate, and it's there
Right.
for her. And
Right.
that's the kind of empathy and the kind of touch that needs to be there. And that's what men need to start understanding and breaking that shackle in their mind.
Amazing. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I think our newer generations are adapting to it. And, I think this is getting better. There's one more very interesting thing, which I also spoke about when I introduced you, that, uh, in general, brands use soft colors, or they would want to whisper about their product, and be try to be as hidden as possible. You've gone in the completely opposite direction, right? Why do you think that the entire category positioning is wrong, and this is how it should be?
Uh, so my main motto of when we started Reva, my first few thoughts around when we had not even thought of the brand name, right? When we were discussing of where we want to get into this category, my core was it needs to be bold, right? It needs to be in the face when there is a product
Right.
lying on a shelf in a shop, right? The women or the customer should be able to point out and say, what is that? Show me what is
Right.
that product, right? It needs to shout out what its presence is, right? And that's where we wanted to build something which was not there in the existing leak-proof products that were available in the market. They were functional, yes, but they look like a compromise, right? They were dark colors, they were the same old designs, and
Right.
whereas the other categories had actually become way advanced, like the fashion. Lingerie had become like a full-blown fashion category. So we
Right.
asked a simple question: why should women have to choose between a functional garment and a beautiful one? Because they are on their period, right? Why does that choice need to be
Hmm. Mahipal, can you hear me? You are paused. Okay. I think Mahipal is there's some connection
Can
issues.
you hear me
Let's
now?
wait for. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Now I
Yeah.
can hear you
So,
now. Yes.
yeah. So, like I was saying, most of the categories have become fashion forward. And why should women have to choose between a functional garment and a beautiful one? Because they are on their period, right?
Okay. I think this is the Mahipal. I cannot hear you again. If you can hear me, maybe you might want to join back. I think
I'm back.
yes, yes. Now I can hear you again. I'm not sure if it was my connection or yours, but yeah, but I can hear you again.
feels good about it. Bottoms, I think there's a issue with the light up bottoms going to the gym or traveling constantly for her or not checking her stains, and
Right.
that's what is required, and that's where Reva is giving women the choice to choose their personality, right, and
Right.
not compromise, right. Today, if we look at majority of the period wardrobe for any woman would
Mm-hmm.
be old soiled stained underwear. Why should that compromise be there?
Correct.
And I personally believe this. And I personally believe this that a healthy and regular period actually is like a doctor's monthly checkup, right? Where we go to the doctor and we get
Okay, guys, I think there's some connection issue with Mahipal, but while he joins back, so there's a very yeah. So basically, Reva has given all our viewers. Uh,
I'm sorry, I'm back.
I think
Slight
now you're
internet.
back.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
So
I was talking, but I was telling how to make an impact. And for our viewers, your Reva is giving a 12% discount coupon. I'll just share that over here as well. So, and of course, you will get the discount coupon in comments in all our captions. But guys, for all of you, there's a 12% discount coupon for ChaiNet listeners. It's called ChaiNet 12. You can use it on their website, and the link of the website would again be in the description. And let's continue, my. But I think now our connection is also a bit stable.
yes, absolutely. Sorry for the glitch.
That's absolutely fine. That happens. Yeah. So we were basically talking about
We're
about
talking about the
your
bold colors and the
category
bold
and
persona
about the
that the
colors.
brand
Yes,
built, right?
exactly, exactly.
Actually, and that's where building out a bold persona is where women need to start talking and feeling confident, because I think some of the leading lingerie brands have always said if a woman feels confident on the inside, she's confident on the outside. And that's what we want to do. That why should those 5 to 7 days be any different? They need to be
Correct,
feeling the same, if not more powerful and stronger for
correct.
themselves, because they're going through something that is God gifted, and that's how I put it for periods.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's you're true. You're true. And although I think the big brands are now starting to realize that okay, this they had to be doing this all along, and things are improving for the category as well. But of course, being one of the boldest out there and being one of being the first movers in terms of this, and being a fashion brand rather than a medical product, right? That's, I think, no one else is doing that yet. You still think that acha, let's go to the chemist and get a pad or a tampon. You'll never think of it getting like period wear in a mall, right? So those things are, I think, very impactful, and that should happen. And that comes to another thing, right? Like your period where you say it's reusable period wear, right? These are not
Yes.
disposables. Most of the category today works on disposables. Do you think there is friction? Like there's you need a lot of customer education for that. I've seen your Instagram reels also, right? They talk a lot about how you manage your reusable period wear. And then there's of course some higher upfront cost. There is friction for the customers. Was there a reason behind choosing like the harder path to this rather than going through. There have been a lot of smaller, I would not say small, there have been a lot of new brands who've come up with similar philosophies but with disposables, right? But you chose probably the most hardest path in the to market. So what
So
was the
I'll tell
reasoning
you,
behind that?
there were primarily two reasons, right? First one is that the Indian consumer is in today's day and age is value conscious and not price conscious, right? A Reva product lasts for up to 2 years. Over the period, it replaces almost a few hundred pads and actually saves the customer 2 to 2.5x of what she would spend otherwise on disposables, right? And in addition to
Right.
that, she also gets her freedom and her comfort in return by using a reusable product. Second, our very own survey of 150 plus women that we did across age groups and cities, 97% were open to trying a product that gave them the 8 to 10 hours of protection. So once you know
Right.
women, uh, reusable doesn't need to mean more work, and but it is less
Right.
mental load, right? It is about less stress. uh, they were willing to upgrade. We're not asking anybody or any woman to stop using pads on day one and just start using a period panty, but
Right.
add a reusable product into your menstrual routine because it gives them a better base, and slowly with the confidence that we have on our product, it will become a default onto what they use during their menstrual journey. And that's what is critical, and that's where we see the initial uptake that is there, that it is a very positive sign. The generations coming up, the Gen Zs, the millennials, they are picking up, they are willing to experiment, they are flirtatious, they
Right.
are uh, encouraging to try something new and not just go by the age old norms of how periods have been thought about.
100%, 100%. I think there is a lot changing, and especially with the new generation, a lot of change is changing for the better. A lot of the things which we have, for us, we've like millennials have been in between, right? We try to see both the worlds. We've been brought up in a very different world, and now our kids are in a very different world. Although I think that's happened for every generation in a way, but I feel for us it's been the maximum, right? Because the change, the delta has been huge, and with that, I. That's what I've been thinking, and not from a femcare side, but from an AI side. That in the last 4 years, a lot has changed, and there's a lot of hype, right? When we talk about AI, and Reva actually launched while the hype cycle was kind of starting out, and where people are talking about AI, and people were talking about that you can build a one-person brand using AI. You don't need anything else, right? So when you started, like in 2023, AI tools started becoming accessible, and AI influencers started earning a lot of money, spreading a lot of a lot of things that okay, you can do this, you can do that. So if we talk about Reva, right? How do you use AI in building the brand? Are you using it for something like product design, customer research, content creation, or do you think it's like a complete hype and you're still doing you're doing things manually?
So I'll tell you, with your overall hype around Reva, it's about AI. Is
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to say that I'm using AI and I'm an AI adaptive brand, right?
Right.
But at the core of the brand and the category, there is a lot of human conversations and empathy,
Right.
right? Which cannot be replaced by AI, right? AI, yes, can give us a faster turnaround on iterations of the content of maybe various variants, right? But when a 15-year-old girl or a 40-year-old woman needs that emotional support of what works best for her during her period or any other health concern, I think a human conversation is what matters. And that's what is at the core, right? Where whenever there is a conversation that is required, a human is always there. to actually build on it and give that comfort and reassurance to our customer. Anything else that a customer wants in terms of uh, speed, AI is always there.
Right, right. So the human touch cannot go, but yeah, the AI helps you with speed, basically.
Absolutely. And I think more to say when you also mentioned about content. We've tried both. We've done both worlds, right? We've tried them. Uh, we've seen real faces, and if you check out our Instagram page, which is at Reva
Right.
for you with a single U, right? It's actually real human faces, real human experiences that have actually got people hooked and engaged to what this category is all about, right?
Right.
We've tried an AI where an AI person, you can make out it's an AI, it's not a human, right?
Of
And
course, yes.
that's where the difference lies, because a woman can relate to an experience of another woman, right? And that's
Right.
what we are trying as a brand to build and bring out as a message.
Hmm. True. I think that's very important. We have a question from Keerthi, and she's talking about the conservative audience, right? Like, of course, like we know, like India has three different audiences. One, you have your top brass, your top 5 to 10%, and then you have the majority, right? And they are conservative. And she's saying that period talk is still very hush hush. And how are you dealing with marketing Reva to that audience right now?
I think it's actually a preconceived notion that it is a hush hush topic. A lot of women today are open to talk about it. So between Nikki and me, we speak to over 100 customers every month, right? And I've seen women across various tiers of India, tier one, tier two, tier three cities, are comfortable in sharing their period journey. So it's about how they relate. It's about what kind of a difference are we creating with our product in their life, right?
Right.
Uh, we've had experiences uh, where customers have said, "I don't believe this will work," right? And we've had challenges with customers, right? You okay, let me send this out to you. If it doesn't work, I'll take it back, right? But if it works, you will replace your existing period wardrobe, right?
Right.
And these are kind of conversations, and we've had customers coming back and saying it actually has made a difference in her life, right? Where we've had women replacing or including this in their elders, in the elder
Right.
women of the house, right? About and talking about it. It's I think a nudge that was required, and with digitization, it is happening. Women have started talking about it, right?
Right.
We recently did an experiment with some regional content, right? About a woman sharing her first tragic period story, right? And we were totally awestruck on the kind of response that we got. There were women
Right.
sharing their stories. Some had good, some had bad, and some had the ugliest experience, right?
Right.
But they were open to sharing it, and that's what is the change. I think the
Right.
change is there, like you said earlier, and I think in the next couple of years, it is just going to get better, right? And with Reva, with the kind of positioning and the product that we are offering, is just going to benefit and make it better.
True, true. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I think it's a growing market. It's something which is now becoming normal. And yeah, being a first mover in that space definitely helps. Now, like we've understood your product. Behind the product, there's also a goal, right? You say that you want to destigmatize menstruation, change the narrative in India. That's a massive goal, right? And when you have that kind of a goal, how do you measure? Like, what are your KPIs? How do you measure progress on something like that while trying to build a business, right? This is not an NGO. Ultimately, you have to build a sustainable business, but you're trying to achieve that goal. So how do you balance both?
So, destigmatization is important, right? And it is a very
Right.
key critical part of the entire category, right? But our primary goal is simple, right? We want to enhance women's lives with this upgrade. It's an upgrade for which women need to start understanding that how it makes a difference for them.
Right.
Sustainability is another great outcome of our business, right? Uh, our Reva period panties replace over 300 to 400 pads, right? Think of the cost
Correct.
savings that women will make in that time frame, right?
Right.
And of the waste reduction. Pads take almost 500 to 800 years to decompose, right? Whereas a reusable menstrual product like a period panty or any of the other wearables, 90% they decompose in 6 months. So you can imagine the kind of ecological impact that is waiting to happen, right?
Right.
Uh, but that's basically a secondary part of what we are trying to emphasize to customers. Our agenda is very clear. We want to blend fashion into what women actually want, ensuring women don't have to ever choose between the two, right? And never have to manage their periods. We want women to experience their periods, and that's where the shift lies, right?
Yes.
It's where
Correct.
today's day and age, women start experiencing and enjoying that entire feeling. See, they are going to have the pain. The entire feeling of getting a period is not easy. It's not the good experience, and I'm sure a lot of the audience would feel that I'm saying it's enjoying. It's not about enjoying. It's about moving with your life without the worry and fear that you might have to check for a stain, or is it the number of hours that I go need to go and change my pad, or is it full? It's all about that freedom. It's about that enjoyment that you can say, okay, 8 hours, I'm done. I can go without even checking on it. I don't need to plan a trip with
Right.
bathroom breaks. That okay, I need to start planning my bathroom breaks. Okay, here is a bathroom. When will I get it next? So it's all those things is where destigmatization happens, where women start talking and feeling different about it.
Right, right. True, true. That's very true. Thank you, Mahipal. It's been amazing. We've learned a lot, and honestly, I'm hoping that our audience also has learned a lot. One last question for today. Why I saved for today is because I hope that you come back after a few months and we have a bigger story to tell.
Absolutely.
But today, being a father myself, I think I would want to end with this question that most fathers don't even know what brand of period products their daughters use, right? And you've actually built a whole company around it. What do you want other fathers to understand about periods that you did not understand before building Reva?
So I'd like to tell all fathers out there, right? Uh, Simple. Have the conversation, right? Your daughter uh, will remember that you showed up, and not that you said
Right,
the right words, right?
right,
Your daughter will remember you were there for a most vulnerable moment, right? It doesn't matter if you are uncomfortable, just be there for her, right?
right.
Because that one conversation will change everything for your relationship. It surely changed everything for me. And that's what is my urge to all fathers out there. Fathers who are already matured and who have daughters who are getting into periods, and also the fathers who are at the brink of it, right? Have that conversation, be confident, because it is just that blossom your relationship.
Yeah, that's very deep, and I will for sure follow it. I hope we have fathers in our audience who also follow it. Thank you once again, Mahipal. For all our audience, that was Mahipal Singh, founder of Reva, breaking every convention about who gets to build what. And I think for us, the learning and the takeaway is about purpose-driven brands, about how a mission is more important than margins. And there's something very specific happening with Reva. Mahipal is not trying to be an expert in something he's not experienced. He's not claiming to understand periods better than people who have them. But what he's doing is bringing a lens to a category that's been built the same way for decades. And what's what he's learned, what he's learned: fashion forward positioning, unapologetic aesthetic, and refusal to make periods invisible. And that's not category research. That you don't learn that in MBA. That's as Mahipal said, that's come from talking to people, talking to your customers, and I think that's also one of a very important learning. If Mahipal is breaking into such a different category from theoretical, founder product fit, what our experts would want to call it, I think you can do it too. The thing important is that talk to your audience, talk to your customers, and understand what their problems are, and then solve for those. If you want to see what Revaa is building, you can check them out at revaforyou.com. So it's revaforyou.com, and there's a 12% discount for our listeners. You can use the code ChaiNet12 for on checkout before the 31st of January. Next week on ChaiNet, we'll be talking to someone also who's very interesting, building in the D2C space, and we're going to talk to them about how they're building what they're building. I'm Rashid Magan, your host, and this was ChaiNet. Thank you so much for listening. And Mahipal, thank you once more for your time.
Thank you very much, Rachit. It was indeed a pleasure being here and sharing my experience with your audience. And I'm sure the change that we want, your audience is going to give Reva that option to be a part of their period journey and build on it. Thank you very much.
100%. I hope that too. Thank you, Mahipal. Have a wonderful rest of the day,
Thank you.
and
Thank you very much.
take care.